Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Gee, thank all three of you. Okay, item number 1. I'd like to call the meeting of the Arts, Parks, and Health and Humanities, or whatever it's called, to order. Adam?
Item number 1, continued from December 4th, 2012, motion Alicon Gregorian relative to the installation of equine traffic control devices, related funding mechanisms, and related matters.
Okay, I believe we have, if we could have DOT and Rec and Parks come forward. Is DOT here?
Don't think so.
Oh, Brian's in Van Nuys. You know what, I think we have a general agreement here. Come forward, please. As I understand it, we are going to have to make a change to that agreement. Gerald, do you have, where's the, what am I reading here? Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, so what we were, first of all, we wanted to see if we could access the golf course funds, $250,000 to do improvements in general. Actually, I should say before that we have a potential $50,000 contribution. The change is that we have not solidified that contributor is willing to donate that $50,000 for this particular plan, and we did not communicate with her, and that's my fault, so I apologize for that. But what I'd like to do, and we may need some help here, but what I'd like to do is, we originally had allocated $100,000 to this project out of Lopez Canyon. That money is still allocated. The cost turned out to be only $109,000 in total, and a portion of that was going to be absorbed by DOT, and that is I believe the signage, mostly the signage. So the motion that we were contemplating coming into this meeting was accepting the donation of $50,000 by Ms. Cotto, and allocating $50,000 from the Lopez Canyon Fund. But since we haven't solidified the agreement with Ms. Cotto, I'd like to do an either-or, that we could either use $50,000 in Lopez Canyon money, or the additional, it's $100,000 in total, or use $50,000 from Melanie Cotto if she agrees to use it for that purpose, and direct that the Department of Transportation work with us and her to finalize whether it's the Cotto contribution or the Lopez Canyon funds. I just want to make sure it's covered so that the DOT can move forward with doing the work, and then we'll work out the technicalities later. So that's my understanding. Is that, well, DOT is not here, right?
No.
So I guess Gerald, we can confirm for DOT that was our understanding. They helped us write the motion with Recreation and Parks. Okay, so that takes care of the 4 signals. Now we want to talk about the plan for...
Excuse me, committee members. Regina Adams, Executive Officer, Recreation and Parks. I just saw the email that came from Gerald as of yesterday, and we would request that we have this continued, because we would like to make sure that we work with the City Attorney's Office to make sure that they have reviewed the intent of these funds through the ordinance that's been established, because we're not sure, and the City Attorney hasn't had a chance to review the intent of the funds, so we're not sure if what you're recommending is appropriate or not, and we want to make sure that we can do it and legally, so we want to request that this item be continued.
Well, I don't understand why we would need to continue it. This is just calling for a work plan.
Well, but I thought that you were going to, because for us to transfer any money to DOT, we would have to take it to our board.
This is not ordering a transfer.
Okay, I just want to make sure that...
It says, instruct the Department of Recreation and Parks, Department of Transportation, Bureau of Engineering, in consultation with Council District 7 to prepare and present a project concept report and work plan in 45 days to implement the requirements of the Angeles National Golf Course Trust Fund. That's all it does. It doesn't really transfer anything. It does indicate the projects that we would like to be considered, but it doesn't allocate the money, and it requests that we come back in 45. So why don't we just add the city attorney to this group?
We will. We'll include the city attorney in the discussions.
That's fine, because we just became aware of this latest hiccup in this morning, so we need time to...
Which hiccup?
This hiccup about the different funding sources and whether or not, I'm speaking when I say this...
Yeah, I read the fund. I'm absolutely confident that it can be used for this. It's for horse trails. It's not horse trails specific
But
to
we would need to...
the golf course,
We would
yeah.
need to thoroughly...
I understand that.
report back
I understand, but,
to this committee, so we need time to do that.
okay. Well, this doesn't do anything with the funds. All it does is ask the department to come back with a work plan, and regardless of whether these projects are consistent with that or the transferring of the money is consistent with that, Rec and Park still has to come back with a work plan on how they plan to use that $250,000 that's just sitting there. Also, there was a discussion about the interest on the fund. Did we get that clarified?
Claudia Aguilar with the CAO's office. We spoke with the controller's office, and that fund is not an interest-bearing account. Any interest that is occurred goes to the general fund. It needs to be, when the fund is developed, it needs to indicate that the interest will stay with the fund, and this fund that was developed in 1973 did not have that language. So unfortunately, this interest has gone back to the general fund.
Okay, so the people don't get the projects and they don't get the interest for waiting either. Well, that's not right. So I would like to move that any interest accumulated from the fund needs to be replenished to this fund.
What's the procedure on that, though? Because I know there's all that, what's that do for every other project? Does that mean all the interest for every project, or?
It depends on what fund the money is placed into. For the equine fund, it was created in 1973, and unfortunately, that one did not indicate the interest to stay. So if there's funds...
Are there funds now that interest stays?
Yes, like for example, Prop K, all the interest stays with the fund and goes to the specific projects
Well, I
that
think two
accrue.
things, Mr. Alarcon.
You're saying that the fund that doesn't accumulate interest is the equine fund?
Yes.
Okay, well then I move that the equine fund bear interest.
Okay, I just want for the record, Madam City Attorney, that was my idea. He stole it from me. He interrupted me.
I second
I
Mr. Labange's
I asked the CAO
Okay.
to look at all these, and I think we should have a consistent policy, and also work with the Parks Department with a consistent policy, and also just to see I don't know how much money it bears that are non-interest bearing accounts. Does that provide you with anything that achieves other goals that you have? Meaning, how much money would this be in a course of a year?
We can work with the controller's office and the treasurer to look at those funds and get back to you with the
Right,
report.
but I wanted to ask the Parks
Regina
Department.
Adams, once again, Recreation and Parks. Because this account, when it was originally established by ordinance in 1973, any interest that was accumulated went to the city general fund, which means it was used elsewhere in the city. In order for you now, if you want to go back and have any interest applied to it, I believe the ordinance would have to be amended to make that happen.
Well, I think then we should
That's
do
what
a
we're
motion.
moving.
Go joint motion, and we'll get something now.
Well, you
But I
can
think
have
it
it,
should
I
be-
won't even be here,
Okay, all right.
so
Good.
I'll be happy.
Lisa,
to
take note of that. Thank you. Does that work?
Okay.
Is that okay?
I just don't think that's bad government. It incents the city to not do anything to collect the interest when that's not the intent of the money. And to sit on this money for literally, how long has it been? 5 years? That this money has been sitting there and the city has been collecting interest when there was an agreement with the community and the developer that this money was going to be used to improve horse trails. And I think that's very bad public policy. And that's why I agree with
Yeah.
Mr. Labange on his motion.
I thank you very much, Richard. I just think there's probably a lot of things that we haven't, in a variety of spectrums within our business of governance that may not be updated to new procedures. So if the CEO could look at that as well, that's a friendly directive, and then we'll come back with a motion to amend this. Thank you.
Okay, Thank you. I think we've covered that item. Is the motion clear?
Okay, just to recap, this is going to council on this Friday, December 14th. We have the original motion, so obviously that has been amended to include the report backing as far as changing to an interest-bearing account for the Equine Fund. We've got that portion. Additionally, contribution that was supposed to, we are in certain status, so make that either or.
My staff will work with you on the language. Yeah.
Okay, just for clarity here on the record there. Okay. And that about, I believe, does that there for that.
I think it does. Oh, and the working group, we're going to add the city attorney?
And city attorney, as far as modification.
No, we were going to add the city attorney to the working group to develop a plan on how that money is going to be spent.
Are we also holding the provision about instructing or Rec and Parks to transfer $150,000 from the fund until we can look into this?
There is no instruction to do that. Which money are you talking
I'm looking
about?
at the motion that was posted. It says, "I therefore move that the Department of Recreation and Parks be instructed to take the necessary steps to transfer $150,000."
That money has nothing to do with the fund. That's totally separate and apart.
Is this a different fund?
Yes.
The Angeles National Golf Course.
The Angelo National Golf Course Fund
Which
is
one?
relative to instruction number 4. The Lopez Canyon Fund and the contribution is relative to instruction number 1.
Okay, I don't have that document.
What document?
The motion's being amended, and he has...
The new
that.
instructions that you're giving now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So this is-
it's essentially like two separate motions.
Okay.
Two
See, I'm at
sep-
a disadvantage because I only have one document in front of me. You're referring
Me
to something
too.
else that I don't have, so I'm just trying to follow.
There's only,
Yeah, but the motion, do you have this one? What motion do you have?
Just to clarify, what he has in front of him is an amendment to change the funding sources.
Oh, I'm sorry, these
for
are my
this.
notes.
So the funding sources will be changed to Lopez Canyon and/or the donation.
Which we're
This,
still trying to...
this instruction
Right.
will not be included.
Oh, you're looking at this motion.
But he's going to include an instruction for the working group to get together and report back on this fund. But it's not going to be funding what's in front of us today.
Okay, I apologize. I thought you were looking at this motion. No, not the motion, but my notes.
No, that's why
So-
we're having a meeting of the minds here.
Okay, no, but
But I got it now.
there's actually 3 separate pots of money, and that we're considering. The one regarding the Angeles Golf Course Fund does not allocate any money. It merely asks for a work plan. Okay, so got it, Adam?
all right, we'll work with your staff.
Okay. Okay, then those instructions are approved. Okay, with regard to the Greek Theater contract extension,
Item number 2, continued from December 4th, 2012, CAO report relative to proposed amendment number 4 to agreement number 245 with Nederlander Greek Inc. for the operation, maintenance, and improvement of the Greek Theater concession, formerly council file number 062048.
Again, Regina Adams, Executive Officer for Recreation and Parks, and also here with me, I have Noel Williams over our Finance Division and also over our concession agreements. What you have before you is a request for the council to approve for a 3-year extension with our current contractor, Nederlander Greek, to operate the Greek Theater. Their contract has expired, and it's time for us to do a new request for proposal, RFP process, and it's going to take us a while to do that. This is our biggest concession that we have, and we believe that this is going to require time for us to be able to complete this process, because we know that there will be many who will be interested, and this is a very popular venue. At this time, the reason we're asking for 3 years is because the first year, we are going to work with the consultant to assist us. Since this is not our area of expertise, we're going to work with the consultant to help us go through and meet with our stakeholders. I'm not sure if you're aware, but especially where the Greek is located, there are many vocal residents in that area who would like to be able to be included in the whatever we're thinking of doing with the Greek and anyone who may be the future operator of that site, but also, too, for the entertainment industry itself. For the Greek Theater, of course, for any entertainment industry, the operators have to book the talent, at least a minimum of a year in advance. And for us, since the season for the Greek right now is April through October, we have to make sure that there's appropriate transition time for whomever might be the next operator for the site, and also for whoever might be coming in. If there's a new operator as well, they need time to be able to book talent as well for this venue. Along with that, we want to make sure, as for the city, the RFP process itself, even if everything goes well, and even something not as more complicated as this, takes at least a year to go through all the various processes through the city itself. So we are requesting that the council approve this. Yesterday, our Recreation and Parks Board approved for us to go and move forward with the consultant to come in to assist us with in getting all the information so that we can prepare an RFP. But we expect it to take some time, first of all, to get all the relevant information so that we'll know what to include in the RFP.
Yeah, I did have an opportunity to meet with the department, and while I have reservations about why it should take 3 years to do this, notwithstanding the scheduling issue of booking performances well in advance. First of all, I think this should have been done 2 or 3 years ago, and we're coming at this at the very last year of the contract. So it puts the council at up against the wall to act in a way that could have benefited the city in terms of its financial stake in this deal. And secondly, I have reservations about the consultant. How much are we paying this consultant?
I believe the total amount will be for about 6 to 8 months of service will be a little bit over $200,000.
$200,000 on a contract that generates $1.2 million a year.
At one point, yeah, I think we've collected about $18 or $20 million over the last 10 years from the Greek, yes.
But it's
15 million.
15 million,
Mhm.
1.5.
The Greek the minimum is 1.2 per year guaranteed, and with the exception of 1 or 2 years, it's generally been between 1.4 and 1.8.
Yeah, so that's an expensive contract for that is causing a delay in us moving forward with a contract. But I'm not going to. I'm just telling you my feelings. But I'm not going to delay this unless Mr. Laban's.
No, I just wanted to let you know, Mr. Alacon, the Department of Recreation and Parks, in Griffith Park in particular, with the fire 5 years ago and the remediation focus that was taking place with the Department of Water and Power's 96-inch river supply conduit on the north side of the park, has traumatized the ability for some things that should come up that you said, rightfully. I don't watch these contracts. It's up to the department to watch them, but they did have a serious, 7.5 fire. I mean, it was right up to the Greek Theater in that area, and much of my push, and I look at Mike Scholl right there and the others, was on trying to get the park, and it has come back naturally. We're still working on the water lines, which impact us. But all of that goes to the challenge of the day. I would like to just say that there should be an annual report to this committee on all the contracts, just the general contracts, where they are, what takes place, so that we could know, because all of a sudden it's December. What's the date today, Madam City Attorney?
It's December 11th.
Here, okay, I called Madam City Attorney, but I'll say Mr. City Clerk. We got it. I was going closer. December 11th, all of a sudden it's December 11th, and boom, and maybe it would be helpful statistically just to see this, what it is, and I also do know this from the engagement with Recreation and Parks has done with the community and the operator. A lot of the community problems of noise, of traffic has settled because of management structures within the department staff who operate the out. I think it's city employees who do some part of the out on the
They do some of the
traffic,
assistance with parking.
on the traffic, and then on the inside with that. So there's been success. All I want is an effective operator who brings a wide variety of cultural as well as popular music to the area, and hopefully a significant amount of contribution to whatever the right rate is. If we're on par with what's in Santa Barbara and what's in some of the other smaller venues, I'd say that's the big thing to see in the study. What do the other venues from San Francisco to San Diego get? What's in Balboa Park? What do they get on their operation? But I think, and the unfortunate thing is everybody that they have, and this is a terrible reality, less and less people are doing these jobs, which means it just takes time. I don't know how many people have in concessions or how many you had before, but I know there's less and less people, and all I'm trying to do is push to keep people in the parks, to keep them open, to get them clean throughout the district and the city. So that's one of our business challenges here.
Yeah, I do want to say I recognize the specific challenges for this particular venue because it's unique, and I don't know that you can do a clear apples-to-apples comparison of any venue anywhere in the United States. This particular venue is right in the middle of one of the wealthiest communities in Los Angeles, and the traffic is, when there are events, is incredibly imposing on that community. They have tremendous resources to challenge our whatever program we want to set up there, and they use them freely. And so it's a very difficult venue to deal with, but it's also one of the most popular venues because of the outdoor atmosphere. We'll move this on to council as recommended by in the report, and essentially we're approving the report, right, Adam?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Labange and I approve the report as is.
Madam City Attorney, I worked there in 1969. Is there any conflict? The summer of '69, the summer of love? Everything was happening there.
That's good to go forthwith.
No conflict.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. But the thing was, back then, Richard, it was the only venue. And then Universal came along.
I think I saw
Universal
Blood,
came
Sweat,
along.
and Tears.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears?
69.
Well, I probably sat you.
Was that you?
Could be. I met the guys from San Fernando sit over there. The Marshall guys got up there. So, no, but the issue, thing historically is all these other venues. This is still open air, which is very special, and they have done great changes in operation that has lessened the burden on the neighborhood. That whatever neighborhood is next to it, this particular neighborhood is next to it. But anyway, Harry Belafonte, 2 weeks he would sing there. Still want to call the trees up there Belafonte's Grove, I think is what I'm talking to John about. We'll work on that. Thanks.
I just respectfully asked if this could go forthwith so that we can get started on this 3-year time clock.
Sure.
Could we get this before
I
Friday?
think it's going Friday,
No,
isn't it? No?
it's too late now to do that. The earliest I can get is January 2nd.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why can't you do it if two of us ask you?
Because we've already released our last special agenda, and they'd have to probably, they may be able
That's,
to do it, but...
that's why I had a special meeting.
Yeah.
We
And he's a special guy. Come on now. You got to figure it out. We'll talk to June
see
Langman.
if we can do another placeholder, but...
Yeah. It's just Friday. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. We get it done, then they're off and running. That's why
I
things
believe
take
in
3
you,
years.
So we never received a request on that one.
I apologize. But at the last meeting, I specifically said I'll have a special meeting to make sure we can get it done before the new year. So I apologize. Okay, with that, this meeting is adjourned. There are no public comment cards.